ReZero has scenes that I wish more Isekai would touch on. The scenes that I have in mind basically touch on the concept of Isekai itself. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you how ReZero sets itself apart from most Isekais. Before I start this video, I want to let you guys know that everything that I say in this video are my opinions and my beliefs. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions and beliefs. These are just my opinions and beliefs on ReZero, so please don't kill me over having an opinion. Also, this video does contain spoilers, so you have been warned. I know this is different from the usual things that I upload, but I wanted to try something different. Also, this is my first time doing this, so I'm sorry if some parts feel repetitive or dry at times. One more thing, my mic kind of fluctuates at times in this video, so sorry for that. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking and let's just get into this video finally. Natsuki Subaru is a shut-in high schooler who gets teleported to a different world on his way home. The story starts off as a very cliché isekai anime, but things get dark quickly. Subaru meets his half-elf named Amelia. After she saved him, they go looking for her insignia. As of now, ReZero can be thrown off as a very basic isekai anime, and the dark scenes that do occur can be thrown off as edgy. But the dark scenes are here to make a point. The point being is that Subaru is just a normal kid. He has no special power or anything of the sort. His only power is Return by Death, which he'll use many times to choose the right path where everyone has a part in it. Return by Death is a super interesting concept because unlike other anime where they can just use powers to get out of a situation, Subaru has to die over and over again to find the right path. And he goes through hell making sure everyone is alive in the end. And ReZero shows you how badly Subaru suffers throughout the anime. He dies in brutal ways, and in episode 15, he becomes mentally broken after the things he had to see. He's no superhero. Seeing all that death and dying all these times can break anybody. Which drives home the point of how he's just a normal person. Not only that, but he's basically alone in his endeavor. He can't tell anybody about his return by death or where he came from. Not only that, when he meets with Echidna, she's the first person that he can tell that he's been returning by death. After all of this pain and suffering, he can finally tell somebody that he's been going through this all. And after all of this death, he still puts on a face to make sure everyone else doesn't come down with him. Return by Death sounds like a very basic concept. Die and come back. But this ability can lead to interesting friendships and other sides of people you wouldn't be able to see without it. Okay, one thing that's kind of stupid is that there's a cut line in the anime that there was in the manga, and that is a conversation between Al and Subaru in which Al asks Subaru if he was summoned here too. This was kind of a huge bombshell to drop and then just not include in the anime. It's a little bit retarded, but it's whatever, I guess? One topic that ReZero touches on that I wish other isekai did is the main character's actual, place they came from. Like in other isekai, they're just like, oh, I'm in a new world, and they don't talk about their home ever again. But ReZero touches on this very well. During one of the trials at Sanctuary, Subaru goes back to his home world, in his mind at least. The first opening scenes establish that Subaru has great parents. Subaru's parents realize he stopped going to school, but they still give him love and affection anyways. When Subaru was born, he had high expectations by the community to be the same as his father. When he was younger, he met those expectations, but when he got older, he started to slip. In an attempt to feel like he still had value, he started acting out. He kept doing more crazy things until he finally realized that his friends have left him behind. After failing at making friends in high school, he convinced himself that there's no point in going anymore. Later in the episode, Subaru and his dad goes on a walk, and after talking for a bit, he realized how much he wants to protect Amelia, Rem, and the others. This is a super cool aspect that I don't see other isekais doing. One thing that isn't said in the series, but is said by the author, is that when Subaru went missing, a police investigation was launched, which turned up empty-handed. I feel like the concept of just talking about his home world gives ReZero so much more depth. I seriously wish more isekais would do this. It would make the isekai genre actually not boring and bland like they usually are. The enemies in ReZero range from people, animals, spirits, and even Subaru himself. The three great mob beasts are a particularly peculiar set of enemies. The three great mob beasts were created by the Witch of Gluttony to end starvation in the world. But in actuality, she released a great evil into the world. The three great mob beasts are the white whale, the great rabbit, and the black serpent. two of which Subaru kills, but after having painful experiences with the both of them. Respective to their names, whenever Subaru fights a great mob beast, the fight scenes are absolutely incredible. Subaru defeats the white whale by toppling Flugel's tree onto it. And when fighting the Great Rabbit, he makes a contract with Beatrice, which allows him to use magic for the time being. ReZero's story is very diverse. It features a bunch of different themes, characters, as well as plenty of challenges. In a weird way, you can kind of learn a lesson from ReZero. That lesson being is that humans can change their future if they can overcome the psychological roadblocks that stand in the way from making the right choice. All in all, ReZero has a fantastic story, and this video won't do it justice for how incredibly vast it is. Now let me open this door. Don't get The characters in ReZero are super memorable, and they stand out as great anime characters. The characters in ReZero also have incredible character development, especially Subaru himself. He goes from a very ignorant and weak kid, oblivious to the world around him, to a very mentally strong person. Subaru's character development is probably the best I've seen in anime. He's an ignorant kid, but over his trial and error of living and dying, he earns a new appreciation for living. In the episode From Zero, after Subaru has died many times with no foreseeable way out, Subaru runs away with Rem. After Subaru tells Rem how useless he is, Rem gives heartfelt advice, and that advice changes Subaru into a better person with better resolve. And later, when he's backed into another corner, he meets with the witches. All of the witches tell Subaru that he needs to value his life more after dying over and over trying to save the people he loves. These two meetings in particular built Subaru into a very mentally strong person than ever before. Rem's development is rather short. Although Rem's development is short, it was amazing while it lasted. Rem grew up in Rom's shadow. She felt like she needed to be her sister. But when Rom's horn got cut off, Rem finally felt superior to Rom. But she hated how she felt happy in that moment ever since. When Subaru first arrived at the mansion, Rem was suspicious of him and killed him on multiple occasions. Subaru then saved Rem from Mob Beast, and that built trust in Rem. Ever since then, Rem has saw Subaru as her hero. Then later down the line, Rem goes into a coma because gluttony ate her memories and name. Rem is such an incredible character because, besides Amelia, she's the only person Subaru can really trust. After all, he's in a hellish nightmare of living and dying. In my opinion, Amelia has the second best character development in ReZero. And there is a lot of episodes dedicated to her backstory. We have an OVA called Memory Snow, and there's a fuck ton of episodes at the end of Season 2 that's also dedicated to her backstory. She lived in Elior Forest for the longest time. In Elior Forest resides the icy graves of her elven kind. And then Roswell came around and told her he could save her kind from the icy graves if she became the 42nd ruler of Lagunica. She accepted the offer, of course. This shows you how dedicated she is to saving her kind. In Elior Forest, she relied heavily on Puck, and then when she finally went to Lagunica, she later relied on Subaru a lot. At the end of Season 2, and after completing the Sanctuary's trials, she becomes a more independent person, no longer having to rely on people. Betelgeuse is the antagonist of the second half of Season 1, and he puts Subaru through absolute hell. It's easy to dismiss Betelgeuse as a cliché madman villain, but there's more to him than that. Betelgeuse was a close friend to Fortuna and Amelia. However, in the fight against Pandora, Pandora used her authority to force Betelgeuse into killing Fortuna. This resulted in him going insane. One of Betelgeuse's main powers is his unseen hand, which no one can see besides Subaru. Another one of his abilities is his ability to possess bodies, which he uses to kill Subaru on one occasion. When Betelgeuse talks, he usually contorts and bends his bodies to unhuman-like poses, and he usually bites his fingers until they bleed. Although these are creepy, it's also kind of unique in its own way. Roswell is a main supporting character and the antagonist during Season 2. Ever since he was introduced, he had one goal in mind, and that was killing the dragon. But ever since Season 2 has started, he's become more forthcoming with his goals, since his goals are closer than ever before. But later in Season 2, we find out he also wants to resurrect his mentor, Echidna. We also learn that Roswell has a copy of the Gospel, which means he can essentially see into the future, and he also knows about Subaru's return by death ability. Since he knows about Subaru's return by death ability, he sends assassins to the mansion. He does this so Subaru feels conflicted about saving the people of Sanctuary and saving the people in the mansion. Roswell hopes this conundrum would put Subaru into another pit of despair. And then while in this pit of despair, Subaru would sacrifice everything for Amelia's trials. Although Subaru hit the pit of despair, he got back up again. Subaru ended up telling Rom about Roswell's intention, and Rom finally decided enough was enough. Rom was going to fight Roswell. Roswell is a very interesting character, and he's also mysterious. He has a lot of tricks up his sleeve that we don't know yet. I know I missed out on a bunch of great characters. Characters like Rom, Beatrice, and Otto, but I focused on the characters that had the most profound character development in ReZero. I personally believe that music plays a huge part in what makes an anime good, but it does not make or break an anime. And I will say, the music in ReZero is absolutely fucking phenomenal. Every scene in ReZero has some sort of music playing, and my god, the music fits each scene very well. ReZero's music makes the emotional scenes even more emotional, and the battles even more epic. Even from the silly scenes to the dark and gruesome scenes, there's some sort of music playing that fits it really well. The endings and openings are also incredible. The openings in particular show what hell Subaru is going through and how he restarts and learns from those mistakes. The first three openings are different from the fourth, though. The fourth opening shows Subaru succeeding, rather than dying and restarting again. A perfect example of how music fits the scenes in ReZero, at the end of episode 14, Theater D, which is a discordant song, plays while it shows Subaru's deteriorating mental state as he sees everyone dead at the village. Another great example is that at the end of episode 15, after witnessing Rem's death right in front of him, a dramatic song plays as snow piles up on his dead body while credits roll. From Zero is probably one of the most beautiful episodes in ReZero, and while Rem and Subaru give each other heartfelt comments to each other, beautiful music plays in the background, making the scene so much more emotional. One thing to note, though, is that ReZero barely plays any of its openings. That's not a bad thing, because some of the episodes open up with scenes that wouldn't really feel right if the opening played. Another thing that is incredible in ReZero is the ambiance. Every scene has birds chirping, or wind blowing in the background, or in the city areas there's people talking in the background. And that little ambiance makes every scene feel more alive. And when that very common ambiance is cut, it makes those creepy scenes even creepier. Every time I listen to ReZero's soundtrack, I get super nostalgic. And it's because each song is beautiful, and each song fits each scene they're played in very well. If ReZero ever does get a third season, I hope they keep it up with the great music and ambiance. Each location in ReZero is beautiful in its own way. Each location is so vastly diverse and unique that each location stands out. Even the simple things like moonlight shining through the trees at night. It looks absolutely incredible. One of the most common locations that you'll see in ReZero is Roswell's mansion. It is a giant and grand mansion where most of the important events happen in ReZero. It's cool seeing new rooms and avenues open up that we haven't seen before. It shows you how big and grand his mansion really is, and it also has a hint of mystery to it as well. The Sanctuary is also a very important place in ReZero, although its name is kind of ironic because of how many times Subaru dies and suffers there. I feel like one of the most beautiful things about Sanctuary, or maybe even ReZero itself, is how the trial room glows blue. It just looks fucking incredible. The nature scenes in ReZero are absolutely stunning, from creeks to woods. Everything looks beautiful, and that's partly because of how the lighting is handled. The lighting looks so elegant, whether it be moonlight or sunlight, it shines through everything to make the scene so much more impactful. Going back on a point I said previously, even the simplest things, like forests at night when the moonlight shines through the trees, it just looks so damn incredible. The way they do lighting in ReZero is just fucking phenomenal. Like, for example, before Subaru and Rem fight the white whale, they have heartfelt conversation next to the flugels tree, which looks incredible in the moonlight. That makes the scene so much more better. Laguna kind of looks like the very typical Isekai city, where the difference in rich and poor, high class and low class is very distinct. But even Lagunica is unique in its own right. It stands as a symbol of hope and prosperity. But there still lurks thugs in this bustling city. Even for the little time that we see Japan in ReZero, the convenience store's neon lights go so well with the nighttime atmosphere. Lastly, the mixture of the incredible ambiance and the incredible scenery makes every scene feel like a work of art. ReZero is an incredibly special anime to me, and I bet it is to many others out there. I watched ReZero around Christmas time last year, and it is still my favorite anime to this day. The only thing that has come close to it is Steins Gate, which is also an incredible anime I recommend you guys watch. Everything from the story to the characters to the music is just absolutely incredible. Once again, I know this is a different sort of video. I don't usually make these sort of videos, but I want to try something different. If you guys like seeing these videos, I could make more, although they're kind of a bitch to make, but I will gladly make more if you guys like these. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope the future of ReZero is bright.